welcome you all to meet the candidates on a form on behalf of the Bowman County Farm Bureau. If you are not familiar with the Farm Bureau, we are a general farm organization representing farmers and ranchers all across the United States at the local courthouses, the state houses, and Washington, D.C. In Bowman County Farm Bureau consists of 230 farm families and has chosen to join Farm Bureau to take advantage of our benefits and programs, such as Farm Bureau Insurance and NODAC. And our NODAC local insurance lady is Sarah Martin Taylor. What we're going to do today is we're going to each ask all three of them, or both of these, to give a 3-minute introduction as soon as we get done talking about the rules. We will have, we will not take questions from the floor, but we will allow you to write the questions out so we can make sure there's no negative stuff. We ask the audience to be cordial and hold their applause until all candidates are done for the specific office has spoken. This is a forum for you, the candidates, to express to the general public why you are the best candidate for your race. This is not a final forum for your debate or cast aspersions at your opponent. So we'll start, and Haley will have, she'll be the timekeeper. She'll give 3 minutes to do the introduction, and then 2 minutes per question after that. So each person want to get 3 minutes introduction, and whenever one wants to start, we can go right ahead.
Hey, thanks everybody for coming. I really appreciate you guys coming out and getting involved in this process. I've been a sheriff for the last 4 years, as most of you know. 18-year veteran law enforcement officer, all in civilian law enforcement. And we've done a lot of things since the first time that we took over there. We've opened up some doors there to narcotics and things like that through the powerful canine department that we've been using. We brought down the crime in the area, as you can see here. No one's been being accosted out here, and we're pretty proud of that. And I have a staff of many, many years, myself 18, and the other guys there, I suppose, were in the neighborhood of 30, 40 years worth of experience there. I'm pretty proud to have assembled that. And I'm asking for your guys' support to continue on with this program and support us and get us to the next 4 years. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Frank. Now Jason, take over for 3 minutes.
Good evening. I just want to thank everybody for coming out tonight, and for everybody that's watching on TV. I thank you for taking part in this very important civic activity. My name is Jason Dodge. I am running for sheriff in Bowman County. I believe that the county deserves a sheriff who is prudent, reasonable, and willing to listen to the people. Everything that I've been hearing from the people tells me that there's things that need to be addressed, and I'm willing to listen to it, and I've been listening to the people so far on that. I've got 20 years of law enforcement experience throughout the world. I retired as a contract agent with the Diplomatic Security Service in 2018. I've got the experience to do it. I've got the willingness to do it, and I want to serve you, and I want to listen to you. Part of that listening process and getting the things that need to happen in this county done, I'm starting to form a Sheriff's Advisory Committee. What I'm going to do is break up the county into sections, and there's going to be an individual from each section that's going to be on the committee. So I have a sounding board between you and myself, so that when people have a problem, they can go to their person, their representative, and come to me, and we can address those issues. My number's in the phone book. I've already gotten calls. I'm willing to do the job, and I want to listen to you, and I hope we have some really great questions tonight, and I wish Sheriff Everly all the best of luck. Thank you.
Okay, first question. I guess this is for 3 things that you're most proud of, Frank, in the last 4 years, and Jason, what's 3 things that you want to accomplish if you get elected?
Well, I would think the biggest thing I'm really proud of is the drug program that we've actually driven that down. We're not having the trafficking through here. We're intercepting things that we have. We have 24 deployments with our K-9, and I can say out of that, 4 good arrests out of that. I'm pretty proud of that. That's good numbers. As far as bringing down the crime, it wasn't really out of check in the first place, but we've been very much proactive, and I'm very proud of that. Our guys are out there. I'm very proud of my team, and that'll be my number 1. Or number 3, I'm exceptionally proud of my team and their commitment
like to accomplish. First off, number one, I want to increase the availability of the sheriff's office. The last time I ran, that was one of the big subjects. Nobody could ever reach the sheriff's office. My number is going to stay in the phone book to make that happen. I'm going to make sure that my deputies are involved in the community, that they, when they're on duty and nobody's at the sheriff's office, like after hours, the sheriff's office phone rings to their cell phone. There's no reason why a non-emergency call should have to go through 911.
Just a minute, Jason, can you scoot up your microphone a little bit?
Thank God, is that better? I think another thing is, you know, I want to control and actually tackle the drugs in our county. We see all the business that's going on next door in Adams County. Sheriff Fisher and I have been talking a lot, and we've kind of come up with a game plan to actually work together. And I think to really legitimately get the drugs stopped in our county, you have to be willing to work with other departments. And I'm willing to do that. I'm also willing to make the tough calls, to do the hard things. You'll never hear, I can't do that, I won't do that, what do you want me to do about it? Or I'm too scared to do it. You'll never hear that from me. And when it comes to the drug dealers, I'll be your huckleberry. I think, and another thing that I want to do, is like I mentioned before, is I want to open up a channel to the sheriff's office. And I want to return our county to the principles of our Constitution. Here lately, I've been getting a lot of questions about due process, guilty and innocent until proven guilty. And I think for a while, we've been seeing, cameraman's told me to raise my mic. We've been seeing a lot more of guilty until proven innocent. And some of the conversations that I've had around the county, people are telling me it's killing our downtown businesses, and it's convincing our young people to move out and never come back. So at the end of the day, we have to sit down and think, what kind of county do we really want? Do we want to keep this county thriving and growing? And that's one of the most important things I think I need to tackle right off the bat.
Okay, thanks, Jason. Next one, Sheriff Everly. Seeing the success an Adams County Sheriff Office is having on drug offenses, do you feel there aren't issues in Bowman County, or why are we not seeing similar results?
I'm really proud of what they're doing over there, no doubt about that. You know, you don't drive down these streets here in Bowman, you don't see needles laying in the street. You don't see anybody out sticking Narcan in anybody's nose. This is being made into a much more bigger deal than what it is. Between the police department and the sheriff's office, we've been doing a great job, keep it repressed here. We do have people that use drugs here. I can't fix that. That's between them and their addiction. Are there people out there that deal it? Yes, there is, and we do our very best to get it. But it's not as simple as just walking up and putting the handcuffs on us. It's not that easy. You know, when a law enforcement officer walks up to a drug dealer and they're like, hey, you want to buy something? It doesn't work like that. So we're putting every bit of effort we can here, and we're doing a good job of it. Exceptionally proud of our guys. We're moving forward here with a new K9. Our K9, as a lot of you may have known, has died of liver cancer. And the first part of December into the first part of the year, we're going to be up and running strong again with our K9 program. And I'm really proud of that. And we have been doing it, and we have had impact here. And as far as people come in and saying that there's all these problems, I'm hearing just the opposite. I'm hearing great job. Proud of you. You guys are doing what we're supposed to do. This negative stuff, I'm not hearing it, nor are my guys, or people come up to me just randomly, hey, great job, you're doing a good job. I'm really, really proud of that.
Talk about the K9. Were any taxpayer money used for the K9 funeral? Yes or no? I mean, was there any taxpayer money used for the K9 funeral?
The answer to that question is yes for the plaques. Out of Angie and I's pockets, that we paid for the urn, we paid for that out of our own pocket. The plaque, we paid for out of our own pocket. Angie and I paid for the flag out of our own pocket. Colsef's has donated the space there at no cost. I'm very thankful for that.
Okay. Every county department has to submit a budget to the commissioners. What are your budget priorities for each of you?
All right, so when it comes to the budget, I've had some conversations already with some county commissioners. And part of being in government is the willingness to work with other people to accomplish what we need to accomplish to get the work in our county done. I've got the county budget for the sheriff's office from 2015 and on, and looking at it, I think a couple of my priorities would be to make sure that we have the best qualified people on the department. And that means being able to pay them in a manner that is competitive with some of the other counties in our state. And then second is their training. Because the training comes back to how they can interact with you as the public and how they handle themselves. And I think we're seeing some of this come out in the past when it comes to due process and all that. I think a lot of that, and you see it all over the country, a lot of that has come down to training. So I think those would be my first two priorities. And then a third priority would be making sure that we have the equipment to properly service the county and the industries that the county's in. Yeah.
My priorities are definitely going to have as like fuels and things like that, so we can be out there, be proactive, and not reactive. If officers aren't out there doing their thing and not being seen, that's not going to deter crime. As far as training and stuff like that, I pour everything that I can get into these guys here, that they get the best of the best training. Anything that they want to specialize in, I work with them closer to make it happen. The commissioners have been wonderful of giving us the budget there to make things happen. Another thing that I'd like to just mention here to be proud of, at the end of the budget year, we don't know what could happen, because I'm dealing with hospital bills, this type of stuff, that when we get someone arrested, that the commissioners have gave us the monies and the ability to do what we have to do, and I can really proudly say, we return money back, and you can ask the commissioners. Every year, I do my very best to return as much as I can.
Okay, next question. Local law enforcement had a negative impact on the state firemen's convention last summer. What would you do differently in hindsight?
To be honest, I'm on the Scranton Fire Department, and when I went to fire school this last year in February in Minot, Bowman County was the talk of the fire school, and it was not good. There was a lot of things that could have happened, and one of them that I would have done was I would have worked with the school or any other entity that I could find that had a bus, and I would have had a deputy driving the bus, because firemen at the end of our day are our partners in public service. And without them, what do we have? As law enforcement or peace officers, we can't do what the fire department can do. We're not equipped for it, we're not trained for it. And the fire department can't do what law enforcement and peace officers can do. They're not equipped and trained. We have to work together as a team, and everything that I heard at Minot, that didn't happen. I would have made sure that those firemen were taken care of, that we had a plan to get them from point A to point B so that they could enjoy the convention, and then they can come back. Because what does that do? That brings money into Bowman County. That helps Bowman County grow, and at the end of the day, that's what we're all about.
I'd like to say I was exceptionally proud of those law enforcement officers. Chief Headley was in a position there, he was told there were going to be a great more number of persons that showed up there. We had 2 crews out there. We had 2 people to the north and 2 people to the south, which would have even been greatly outnumbered if those amount of people that would have showed there. Misinformation was put out there. The dog was walking around sniffing people. The dog was sniffing cars. The dog is not trained to sniff people, and the dog doesn't just automatically just sniff vehicles. That's not what it was about. Those officers were out there. They had 1 or 2 contacts. I think it was 2. There was a report of 17 DUIs. You know how many there was? 0. This was blown terribly out of proportion. I'm very proud of each and every one of those guys who were out there
law enforcement with the sheriff department and the city police department. What are your thoughts on this and a possible consolidation of the two departments?
I think it's worked well in other counties. I mean, I'm not the kind of guy that's a hard line and refuses to look at options. At the end of the day, we gotta figure out what works best for Bowman County. Is it budgetarily prudent to consolidate? It may be. We'd have to crunch those numbers and look. I mean, do we need the amount of officers that we have in the county? We'd have to stop and look, but it's certainly something that I would be willing to consider.
You know, I think we're doing a fine job. The police department has their duties, the sheriff's office has their duties. We have different duties. They don't do paper services, we do paper services. A lot of time we'll do warrant services, they don't make their best. They do a very fine job of taking care of this community, and I'm really proud of that. Those guys busted their butt out there. And the sheriff's office has, like I said, different duties. We're out in the counties. As far as I'm concerned, I think it's wonderful that we have the diversity of the two operations there. And as far as I'm concerned, no, I don't see where a consolidation would gain anything. We work together anyways, so there's no real, it is one team. It's one team already, so by calling it something different, it's the same.
Okay, next question, Frank. When asked by the commissioners in earlier in your term, you give them a report. Your comment was the commissioners are not my bosses, the people are. Why do you think it's important to keep the commissioners updated? And Jason, if elected, would you keep the commissioners updated?
That's true when I went down there. You know, anytime you come into something new, you're going to stand for what you stand for. We worked well now with the commissioners there, and there's some things that I just can't simply put out there. It's just not, that doesn't work like that in investigation. There's some things we can put out there, and there's some things we can't. So as far as I'm concerned, we have a great working relationship with the commissioners, and we'll continue to do so.
I've had some questions on this, and when it comes to working with the county commission on virtually anything. The biggest thing is the budget, and I'll explain why. Our county government works just like state and federal government. We have a chief executive officer, we have a legislative branch and a judicial branch. The chief executive officer in the county is the sheriff. He is answerable to the county commission for his budget, just like the governor and president are to the respective houses. Okay? When it comes to being able to converse with the county commission on my budget, I have no problem talking to them at any time about any question they have, because I need to justify the money that I'm requesting from the people. Because when I submit my budget, I'm not submitting it to the county commission. I'm submitting it to your representative, and it is their due diligence to ask me how am I going to diligently and prudently spend that money. And if some of those questions have to sideline into some things that cannot be discussed publicly, we can work through that. I spent 20 years with top secret and secret clearances. I know how to talk with people about issues and subjects that can't be disclosed publicly so that we can continue to work as a team in this county.
Okay, next question. Repeat offenders of crimes walk free daily on our streets. Why can't they serve time? Is this a state's attorney issue? Explain how you are or would work with him to get this issue resolved.
I'm glad you asked that. We've had a heck of a time getting things processed. We've been busting our butt, case after case after case, sent forward to the state's attorney, with piss poor resolve. I can do everything I can do. The police department can do everything they can do. Put it together, bring the cases, hand carry the cases, email the cases, without resolve. Yeah, it's broke. I can't do crap without his help. That's what the problem falls, is that I cannot get it through, nor the police department, any of my deputies can get anything done because we're fighting an uphill battle.
I didn't know something or I didn't know immediately a way to do something, I was encouraged and admonished to find a way. This means that if I have a problem getting a case through the state's attorney to get it prosecuted, I need to sit down with the state's attorney and we need to work together to figure out what he needs to make sure the case happens, and we move on from there. And there's always one step above, right? So as the sheriff, one step goes to the governor, right? The state's attorney has his boss. There's always a way to do something. And at the end of the day, you gotta make sure that you're taking the team effort to get it done.
Okay, next question. It was reported on the Adams County press release that they requested backup for a Bowman County arrest warrant on a Bowman County resident, and it was denied. Is this something that happens often in not assisting other law enforcement agencies? And Jason, if elected, would you help the other law enforcement?
Yeah, we've seen that vote in there. We had all our people out there except for one deputy in county, and then the deputy made the right decision to stay right here, protecting the people that he sworn to, and not leave this area unprotected. That's exactly why we didn't go over there. It had nothing to do that we didn't want to go over there. We simply didn't have the staff in county do it. We had one guy here to do the job. He did the right choice, and I would expect him to do the same thing again if it happened.
The short answer is absolutely. The long answer is, and in referring to this situation, I had a phone call with Chief Headley, and I said if I was the sheriff and I had this exact situation come up, it was a Bowman County warrant in a neighboring county, and they requested assistance, would you and your team cover the county while my guy goes and assists Adams County? And he said absolutely. And that's the thing, because sometimes you may not agree with everything somebody that you have to work with stands for or says, but at the end of the day, in order to do the people's work, we have to work together to make sure we get things done.
Okay. Fentanyl's killing over 300 people a day across the United States. That's a commercial airline crash daily. What are your thoughts and concerns about this fentanyl?
Say your question.
Fentanyl is killing over 300 people a day across the United States. That's like a commercial airline crash daily. What are your thoughts and concerns about this?
I think it's absolutely sickening. We've seen zero fentanyl here. Thank God. We've seen zero fentanyl here. With the presidential administration right now, with the open borders, it's porous. They're pouring in unchecked. And it's going to continue to get worse regardless of what Mr. Dodge, myself, or anybody else does, except for do our due diligence here. It's wide open. I mean, there's narcotics coming in. There's child trafficking coming in. There's all kinds of stuff coming in, and it's starting on the federal level there. We can only do what we can do here. But yeah, I'm sickened by it.
I know that the question was about fentanyl, and really I think this intones to a very broader subject. People just don't go after fentanyl. I mean, there's a lot of things that go into what goes with fentanyl. Recreational marijuana is on the ballot. You know, they're lacing marijuana that we're finding nowadays with fentanyl, and then that gets other people hooked on some of the harder stuff. The one thing that I have to say about, we're not seeing it in Bowman County, we are at the crossroads. It's a major thoroughfare, US Highway 12 and 85. Everything that ends east of us or north of us has to come through here unless they take the interstate. But if you study criminology, they're going to take the 2-lane highway because they're less likely to get picked up. If Adams County is finding the stuff, and all the counties north of us are finding the stuff, it's got to be coming through here. And we need to stop it.
How would you reconcile due process and the 4th and 5th Amendment with your current enforcement practices? And if elected, how do you view the relationship between policing and the same amendments?
memory on.
How would you reconcile due process and the Fourth and Fifth Amendments with your current enforcement practices? And if you acted, how do you view the relationship between policing and the same amendments?
Well, I think what you're asking me is, as far as due process on when people are being arrested or whatever, and where it goes from there. The due process is just basically is when someone's arrested, it moves on to the next level. There's 3 different levels. The executive, the judicial, and the legislative, and it has to move on through those branches there too. And that's how that process works.
I think what this question is referring to is apparently a couple of my earlier remarks. The Fourth and Fifth Amendments are in our Constitution for a reason, and they're to ensure that the people of our country have the ability to pursue life, liberty, and happiness unfettered, unless it is proven that they have committed a crime. You have, as an American citizen or as a resident of this country, the presumption of innocence until you have a provable charge. I think in my administration, I'm a constitutionalist. If you are not breaking the law, and I don't openly, overtly catch you breaking the law, I have not built a case against you that you have broken the law. I cannot empirically prove beyond a reasonable doubt that you have broken the law. I'm going to leave you alone, so you can pursue your life, liberty, and happiness.
How do you feel, well, I know we've talked a little bit about this, but you can stress this again. How do you feel about working with other local entities, police and other towns? Your feelings on crimes, drugs, minors, actions of someone who has multiple offenses with working with other local law enforcement?
Well, I feel great about working with the local law enforcement. We have a great relationship. We're communicating on a daily basis. Even when we're not doing work, and there's times where we receive a text, and we'll continue to run the course there and see what we can do with this, as far as crimes and what have you, and keep that information flowing there. As far as repetitive persons with these crimes out here, again, it doesn't fall back to us, believe it or not. It falls to the state's attorney that is not prosecuting, and the judicial system that is just simply so soft out here. It's an in and out. By the time we get them booked in, they're almost walking out the back door. It's frustrating to us, and the sad thing about this type of thing, the sheriff, the police department get blamed for this stuff when they put great cases together and it gets moved forward and nothing happens with it. It just gets sat on.
Working with other departments, absolutely. At the end of the day, this is only Bowman County. And like I said before, everything comes through Bowman County, going north and going east. And mostly going east. If you can't work with other people, if you can't at least sit down and have a conversation, if you can't discuss how do we best serve our counties, jurisdictions, and make things happen that the people want to see happen. At the end of the day, you have to do that. Whether you like the person or not, it's got to happen. As far as repeat offenders or not being able to get certain things done, there's always another way to help somebody. If we have somebody with a minor crime, they got an addiction issue or some other kind of issue going on, there are programs out there that we can funnel them towards. The solution is not just you're going to jail, or if we can't get a case done, we're done with it. We can't do nothing with it. There's always something that we can do to help people improve their status in life, improve their condition, and that's what we're going to do.
Explain your thoughts on why it seems some illegal actions get overlooked because of their status.
Well, I don't believe that happens at all, period. I don't know what incident specific you're talking about. I don't believe that happens at all. I think we've been very fair and consistent, and there are those out there that get arrested that just seem to think that they're above the law and they shouldn't have to be dealt with, and they take it as they're being picked on. No, they're committing crimes.
As I said before, I'm a constitutionalist. The law applies to everybody equally, equal justice under the law. It says that on the face of the Supreme Court building. And that's what we need to make sure that everybody understands. Now, don't get me wrong, law enforcement has a lot of discretion, right? I'm not gonna harass grandma and give her a ticket and read her the riot act because she's got a busted taillight or she hasn't put her tabs that are in the glove box on yet. That's a community service, right? Now, if you have a hit and run, or you have a case and you prosecute a case against the guy who's dealing dope, that's a completely different story. You have to use discretion, and like I said, prudence and reasonableness in your application of the law.
Okay. Do you know the donations versus the budgeted money allowed for the K-9 unit? And will you continue, and can you explain a little bit about the K-9 unit?
You're asking what the budget is?
Budget, what do you know the donation money used versus the budgeted money allowed for the K-9 unit?
Yes, most everything has been done through the program. 4 years ago or so, when we had the nice feed out here out of Bronson's here, we raised quite a large sum of money, to the point here where, as Ruby's passed away, as people know, we were able to go there and have 100% of the money taken from that donation out there, from that feed out there, pay for the dog, pay for the train, pay for the stay down there, all within one bill, and all paid through that there. I think the budget, I think is set $1,200 or $1,500 is what they've asked us to do, just out of simplicity for the commissioners to have some numbers there. But that money there is not belonging to the commissioners. It's mine as a donation used towards the program. But I've been quite frugal with it, and I've proven that, because now here we are in need of a dog, and we're there ready to go.
Would you use a K-9 if they left it, Jason?
Yes. The last time I ran, I said I was all for having a K-9. I didn't think that the budget quite would cover it at the time. I think that right now, since Sheriff Everly has already put some of that infrastructure in place, absolutely. I would probably not go with a single-purpose dog. I'd use a dual-purpose dog. If we're going to get a dog, let's go and get a dog that can be utilized to its fullest capacity. So yeah, I would use a canine, absolutely. We see in other counties where they do wonderful work. The state patrol does a lot of good work with canine. I use canines in the State Department. They have a purpose, and they are very useful, and it's another tool in our toolbox that we can use to make sure that we're serving the people of the county correctly.
That's all we have for questions so far, so now we'll give a 3-minute wrap-up for each of you, and we'll go from there.
Again, thank you guys for coming. I appreciate that. I couldn't say again, I'm more proud of my team. I'm proud of the police department. I'm proud of our accomplishments. I'm proud of the K-9 program. I'm proud that we kept repressed crime around here. We're one of the safest counties around here. A guy can't ask for more than that. A competitor, I'm glad that he's up here, and I believe in this system here that we can all get up there and have some choices. But I'm coming from 18 years of civilian law enforcement. Working in civilian stuff here, civilian law is significantly different than any other types of laws out there. I'm a constitutionalist myself. I'm a constitutional card-carrying individual. Very proud of the Constitution, and I'll stand behind it 100%. And I'll protect your rights as I have been doing. My theory, and these guys know here, don't get involved with someone unless you have to be. And that's what Mr. Dodge is talking about here. Protect people's rights. Leave them alone unless you have to be involved with it. Don't make a big deal out of simple things. If you stop someone at something simple, handle it and move on. If it's serious, dig into it and get the job done. I'll ask for your guys' vote in November 8th, and I really appreciate it if you can come out and vote for me.
Well, I want to thank Sheriff Everly for coming out to this forum. I appreciate all the good candor and that no matter how inane and minute the call may be, I pledge that we will pay attention to you and give you the due attention that you deserve as a member of this county. And we will tackle the drugs. I'm already working with Sheriff Fisher in Adams County to set up a committee to work with multi-counties on coordinating our efforts and investigations to make that happen. I want to do the job. I'm willing to do the job. You will never hear, I can't do that, I won't do that, what do you want me to do about it, or I'm too scared to do anything about it. And to those peddling dope in our county, when I get elected, I'll be your huckleberry. I will be seeing you. Thank you everybody for coming out tonight. Thank you for everybody for watching on TV. And I hope to have your vote on November 8th so we can get this county turned around and head in the right direction. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for these two commissioners, or two sheriff candidates. We will take a 10-minute break, and then we will have the county commissioners up next. For 10 minutes, give them a round of applause. Thank you.